Everyone. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. No, next time. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for all coming brave enough back into London after the last being beaten, I'm sure, on trains and transport the last few weeks. I, for one, am certainly pleased it's back to a bit more normal conditions. You know, a bit of rain to make it a proper British summer. But thank you all for coming. This is our pre-summer. This is our last event before our pre-summer break. So just in case anyone's looking to turn, you're welcome to turn up. Harry's Bar will be delighted if you turn up in August. But Sandra and myself won't be here. But we'll be back in September.
And last Monday.
So if you've got your diaries either to hand or when you get back, mark that in your calendar. I'm David Gordon, I'm the founder of DG Law. For those of you who haven't met me before, most of you have, but for those who come here for the first time, founder of a commercial legal practice here in London. And this is our event on a monthly basis to try and bring our clients and contacts together and give you guys an opportunity to network with each other and hopefully develop your businesses. And as part of that, we have what I like to call the education slot, the speaker slot, to bring some kind of focus to the event and deliver to you some pearls of wisdom that you can take away over the next few weeks and hopefully incorporate into your own business and your own business development. So over the months and years we've had a whole range of different topics. Today we have our speaker who's a good friend of mine who I've worked with now for over 6, 7, possibly 8 years.
Wow.
On and off on various things. Fellow lawyer.
A young girl, have you?
I'm a young man, exactly. And fellow lawyer, but in a slightly different capacity. So I run a traditional legal practice, but Joe here has set up an innovative legal practice that is actually, while doing legal advice, it's also helping and training other lawyers to work more innovatively and work in a different way. So as you call it, a tribe of lawyers.
Tribe of next generation.
That could require its own Wikipedia entry at some point, I'm sure. What is a tribe of lawyers?
Yes.
Exactly. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce founder of Navistar Legal, Joe Rogers.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Hi, guys. Most people here have asked me, so what are you actually talking about today? I am talking about innovation, and I know what you might be thinking, but you're a lawyer, and you're going to talk to me about creativity and doing things differently. Most people have this reaction, like that. First of all, that doesn't sound like the right person that wanted to teach me about something like that. And second of all, it all sounds a little bit fluffy, and you'll probably be thinking one of the two. But my intention today is not really to focus on innovation, but to focus on something that is the crux of innovation. That was taught to me by a business mentor, and Honors here as well, because it's his business mentor. So it's great to have you listen to what I'm going to talk about. How many people here, just so I know audience participation, how many people here have their own business? Totally your own business. And how many people are in corporate working for someone else? So there's a mixture, but most people are in their own business. Okay, so I'm going to focus on that. Now I do have a few slides, you probably can't see them at the back, but there's my contact details. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, I'm Joe Rogers, in-house lawyer. But I really want to bring you a little bit of magic today. How many people woke up on a Monday morning and went, can't wait to get to the office? Or you might have, because you're coming to this. Obviously, you probably did. But it's very rare that we wake up on a Monday morning and think, I can't wait to get to the office. And most of us miss that spark in the day. I mean, even me, and I feel pretty enthused about what I do day to day. I can wake up in the morning and really think, do I really have to go to the office? Can't I just stay at home and watch a box set? To me, the magic that you get from feeling that you're on purpose is a really powerful. And that's really what I want to give you, is a bit of magic. How many people here want some more magic by a show of hands? Go on. Yes, you know you want to put your hands up. A little bit of magic. So let me tell you about who I am. David gave me a great introduction, but I started life in the corporate world. In fact, literally, Harry's Bar, across the road, that was my office. There's a churchyard, and there was an office. That's where I started work at Mintz Levin. It was a corporate As a corporate lawyer, I was working on private equity, and I did the corporate thing. We worked on private equity transactions, listing US companies on the alternative investment market. And I had no idea. I thought it was quite exciting. I thought that I was doing the deals and getting the transactions. I thought that I was really enjoying life. But I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that feeling of burnout. How many people have felt tired of what they're doing? I said, yes. I completely went into burnout. I felt really exhausted with what I was doing. And it was only when I met this guy, where is he? This guy. So how many people have heard of Mike Harris by a show of hands? I know Honor has, and Peter, and David, because probably I've talked to him about it loads of times, yeah. So Mike set up a little known bank back in the 1980s. He recognised that there was an issue between the banks and the customers. And he had this thought, what if I could create a bank without branches? What if I could create something that wasn't there already? And what if that bank created a better experience for its customers than many others? Do you know, I mean, for those people that don't know Mike, does anybody know what that bank ended up being? Yes? It was First Direct, that's right. So Mike set up First Direct back in the 1980s. And instead of giving people a manual and saying, right, this is what you need to do, when you pick up the phone, you're going to say these 5 things. And if they then ask this question, you're going to do this. He didn't give them a manual at all. What he did was he asked them one question. And this was the question, this was one of the questions that he asked me when I went to his mentoring. So I went to be interviewed. I'd love to say I was handpicked for his mentoring. I really wasn't. I begged him to have me on his mentoring program. I heard that he was mentoring 12 people. And I was like, I'm going to be, I don't know why. I'd never heard of the guy before, but I knew that I had to be on this guy's mentoring program. And he said, sorry, Joe. Yeah, the program's full, but I tell you what, you can come along and have an interview. So I sat down opposite him. It was in the Adam Street Club. I sat down opposite him, and I was expecting him to really ask me some really profound questions about my business. I thought it was going to be a Lord Sugar moment, where he was going to say, oh, tell me about your profitability and your revenue, and he didn't. He asked me 2 questions, both which completely threw me. The first one was, what do you love to do? That took me aback. This was a billionaire who had run $3 billion companies, asking me what I love to do. Didn't make any sense to me. And I do remember sitting there, nodding, smiling, thinking, what am I going to say? And I came out with, how many people have ever interviewed at graduate level, by a show of hands? Right, I've interviewed at graduate level, and at graduate level, when you ask people, so why do you want to do law, or why do you love what you do? They kind of have this, what is it called? I was going to say sheep in the headlights, rabbit in the headlights look, panic, and then they give a statement which it sounds good, sounds really good, sounds like they've practiced it again and again and again and again, but it really isn't natural or authentic. That's the answer that I gave Mike. I don't know what I said. I can't remember. I probably said, I love to help small businesses and I love to see them grow, which, by the way, is true, but that was kind of the answer I gave, and because I was not expecting this question. What is it that I love to do became clear years later, and it is what I'm doing right now, which is speaking. I love to speak. I get totally energized by speaking, but at the time, I didn't know this, because truthfully, I was burnt out. I was exhausted. I was working really hard. At that time, I was working in-house at American Express, and I was working a business on the side, and I was attempting to do basketball training and all these different things, and I was just absolutely shattered. So when he asked me what it is that you love, he said to me years later, he had no idea what I said during that interview. It didn't make any sense. But what he did know is that if he unleashed something inside of me, what was going to come out was going to be profound and powerful. And that's, for me, what I want a little bit for each of you here. Because when we work in the corporate world, when we work and we're constantly going to networking meetings and we're going and doing different things, we're never usually thinking about what it is that we truly enjoy doing. That was his first question. And what Mike talks about, and he's given me permission to share on this is what I'm teaching lawyers, by the way, in the corporate world now. What he says is you've got to find something that is bigger than you. You've got to find something that is greater than just getting power, prestige, partnership if you're in a law firm, profit if you're in business. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that profit isn't important, it absolutely is. But we've got to find something that is larger than that. And he's not the only one that says it. This unknown man, Richard Branson, he says it too. He says those companies, those individuals that will thrive will have a purpose that is greater than just making money. And if we can work out what that purpose is for us, then we are in a great place. And to me, that is my message for you today. What is it? And usually I would get you to write something down at this point, but I recognize that A, nobody has pen and paper. B, everybody wants to read, unless it was a napkin. There are some napkins over there, you could get a pen. I just want you to give some thought when you go away from here today. 2 questions. What is it that you love to do? And the second question that Mike asked me was, what would you do if you never were going to get paid for it? And for me, that is speaking, that's getting up on stage, it's delivering a message, it's allowing other people to experience what I've had, the luck and the fortune of being able to be taught by such prominent people. For me, I hope that has given you some sort of insight into purpose and the importance and how it connects to innovation. When we are switched on, when we're turned on, when we're excited about what we're doing, when we've got that purpose that is greater and a vision that is bigger, first of all, we can attract people into our vision. We lasso them. We lasso them into our purpose. We are able to attract people and become magnetic to them. People start wanting to show up. I shared a video the other day on LinkedIn saying, hey guys, I've got this a shorter version of what I'm giving to you today, and I had 38 people contact me on email saying, how can I help? I'm really interested in supporting you. That to me, not just the power of LinkedIn, but it's the power of having something that's greater than you. Greater than me just going out and making money. Greater than me just being an in-house lawyer and getting a promotion. Greater than me working in a law firm and getting partnership, promotion, getting a fat check at the end of the month, which always feels really good, but may not switch me on in the same way. So just as a little homework for you guys, just think about what is it that you love? And that should be a list. My personal view is write down for 2 minutes, minimum, all the things that you love. That might include family, that might include friends, that might include specific foods that you really love to eat. And then circle the things that you haven't done in a while, or you haven't seen in a while, or you haven't experienced in a while. And then the second thing is work out one thing that you haven't done, one thing that you might do that you would do if you weren't going to get paid. And you would do it regardless. As I say, mine is speaking. So I don't know timing-wise how we are. We're good?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. I'm going to be around later for any questions. Thank you.
I know we stand between foods at feeding time, which is always a dangerous time for any hungry animal. Any quick question for Jim? No? Yes.
I'm interested in the link between what you do and what you've just been talking about and the work that you currently do.
Sure. So what we are creating is, as David said, a tribe of next generation lawyers that provides affordable legal wisdom to small businesses. So we're taking the training and we're working with corporate in-house teams and training them up to work as non-execs for our small businesses, so that they get a whole. The aim is to give them legal operations officers, basically, but from the top quality law firms, in-house legal teams. Yeah. Honor.
Loaded question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to ask? How do the small businesses feel after working with your lawyers?
That's a good. So actually, that's a good segue into. So Mike doesn't just talk about purpose beyond money. He talks about iconic branding. This is just one segment of some of the stuff. I mean, in 10 minutes I couldn't cover it all, but he also talks about brand experience. And as I said, when he talked about First Direct, they never gave a manual. Instead, they gave one instruction, and that instruction was, we want you to leave every single person that you interact with feeling totally taken care of. And that's another aspect of brand experience, which is how do you leave people feeling? We want to leave people feeling fired up. So whether that's fired up to take action, fired up to write that list tonight. I know you're all going to go home and you're going to write this list. But what is it? How do you want to leave people feeling when you interact with them? Because that's personal brand experience is so much a part of how people see you and how we naturally interact with each other. But if we're really focusing on how we're leaving that person feeling, they're going to go away with a better experience. Does that answer your question?
That's it.
Thank you.